What's going on YouTube? I've got a special treat for you guys today as we're going to be taking a look at the Chesona Armor Dock Series iPad Pro case. And while software may not be maxing out our iPad Pros right now, this case is going to maximize your hardware. So let's take a look at it. Before we do, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss as we cover all your favorite tech. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Grant and Geek Show. Shout out to Chesona for sending this over. All right, so first things first, you're gonna see the case, and aesthetically, let's just say it's not going out for any thin and light awards, right? It's unapologetically big, bulky, it's mean, but why all this bulk? I'm not even gonna go through a spec list of what this case can do. We're gonna walk through it together, and you're just gonna be shocked and shocked again and shocked as we continue to reveal more things that this case can do. So first up, taking a look, it's got a plastic and sort of rubberized feel for the majority of the body, but then right down here, we've got a nice silver band. It's a metal band on the bottom, which is nice, I guess. It adds a little color, a little style to it. We've got rubber feet down here on the bottom, and of course we got our camera cutouts. There's even a place to store your Apple Pencil. Right here there's a little bulge, and we'll take a look at what that is a little bit later. But opening the case up, it reveals an all black plastic made keyboard, okay, with a trackpad. And so far this is pretty much our standard affair with an iPad Pro keyboard case. Of course this is detachable, you can take it off right here, and this is where we're going to reveal the first little bit of tech here. The keyboard automatically attaches to the iPad via these connector pins here, and there's some more special things that are going to happen when these push-up pins connect. This is where a lot of the magic happens, but let's put that to the side for a moment, and we're going to put the iPad Pro in the case. Now, this is the M1 iPad Pro. This form factor obviously is not the same as the new M4, which is incredibly thin. Chesona, if you're watching this, I'd love to see a version of this case for the M4 iPad Pro, as it's thinner and lighter, which would allow the case to theoretically be thinner and lighter as well, but then it would be able to max out the hardware in that M4 iPad Pro, which would be something to see. Okay, so when we're putting the iPad Pro in the case, the first thing you want to do is take out this dongle, and you can see it's a flat cable here that has a USB-C connection. So we're going to get into some I/O with this iPad Pro, some charging and things like that off the bat. I've kind of given that away. So the iPad basically clicks right in, just like that. Now we're actually able to plug the iPad in, just like that. And now we're going to attach it to the case. And my friends, this is when some crazy stuff begins to happen. All right, so we've got our iPad Pro plugged in here, but Chris, this is supposed to be something that maximizes the hardware, and you've just taken up my USB-C port. But wait a second, we had the push-up pins that were connecting the keyboard itself, which, by the way, automatically connects here, no pairing needed. You just toggle the off-on switch, and just like that, you can see that the keyboard and trackpad automatically become connected here. So then this USB-C connection here, what is it for? Well, let's say first we have to, I don't know, plug in a USB-C hard drive, okay? We can connect that right here, and lo and behold, we have a USB 3 connection, okay, on the keyboard case. So we can go ahead and plug in a hard drive. This Samsung automatically starts booting up here. We're able to see our SSD right here in the file browser, and of course we're able to access files. Just click on things and play them just like that. So all right, cool, Chris. So you've got a keyboard case that has a USB in. It's nice, it's very cool, but when you look at the weight and the bulk of this case, you know, one USB port just may not do it for some folks. All right, well, let's say, oh man, I really wanted to transfer something from this SSD to another SSD. Well, hold on. If we take this here and plug it into a cable, we see on the side of the case, what's this? A USB-C port appears on the side right under the connection. And what happens if we connect that in? All of a sudden this SSD starts coming to life. We jump right into our file browser, and lo and behold, yet another SSD is now available. And just like that, we have mouse, keyboard, and 2 SSDs connected to our iPad Pro, all without crazy dongles or a big USB-C hub. And I'm able to, again, access these files with no problem whatsoever. So now, most reasonable people will be thinking, all right, Chris, that's pretty impressive. But the Chesona Armor Dock Series case has even more to offer. So let's say I just finished this episode that you're watching right now. Oftentimes, although I do record on SSDs, sometimes it's recorded on an SD card just like this. Well, looks like we're out of ports over here. Not even to mention the headphone jack. I mean, come on, that's a given. With a case like this, yes, you get a headphone jack, so you can plug in your headphones. But if we turn it on its other side, we've got an SD card reader, full-size SD card reader. So let's go ahead and plug in our SD card. And would you believe me if I told you? Some folks would be like, now you're getting stupid. Yes, we now have the SD card, 2 SSDs, connected to the iPad Pro at the same time, all without a dongle, just as if it were a laptop, with plenty of I/O. And of course, we're able to access and play back our files. Shameless plug, check out my other channel, Christosophy, where we talk about current events and shine light into the darkest of places and spaces. So, okay, now your mind is probably pretty blown, right? You've got an SD card and 2 SSDs connected to the iPad, all from one device, connected to its USB-C port. Not to mention the fact that you've got a headphone jack. You've got your keyboard and mouse connected. But would you believe me if I told you we're not done yet? Well, now you're working with all these files and the screen's getting too crowded. HDMI port. Yes, this case also has HDMI Out for your iPad Pro. And with one cable, we can plug in our display. We can see right here our iPad Pro screen perfectly being mirrored to an external monitor. I kid you not, this case is insane. But as Billy Mays would say, but wait, there's even more, okay? So I mentioned the SD card reader. Right under that is actually a micro SD card reader as well. So you're not gonna have to get any kind of dongle in order to adapt or change a micro SD to a full-size SD. You can use both cards right there in the case. All right, so right now your mind is probably blown. You're getting some serious productivity vibes here. But I've saved the best feature for last. Any of you who had a keen eye probably noticed that there was already some sort of storage device attached to my iPad Pro before I began plugging things in. Let's take a look at that now. All right, let's take a look here at this silver band, and we'll see that there are 2 screws on either side. Let's go ahead and unscrew this. What you will find is that this was not just for aesthetics, but behind this metal strip is an NVMe SSD. No, I'm not joking. You can literally hot swap NVMe SSDs into this iPad and give yourself expanded, basically internal storage at lightning fast speeds for your photo work, your video work, pretty much anything you can think of. You can put on an SSD, put it into the case itself, and it will interface through USB-C, allowing you to carry tons and tons of media without bogging down your internal storage. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I had to review this case. I've never seen anything like this, with as much I/O as this offers, while still maintaining a relatively small size, something that would just be about the size of a serious laptop. And listen, no, this is not as thin and light as your average folio case for your iPad, but this, like I said in the beginning, is for people who absolutely want to maximize the hardware of the iPad Pro and turn this into a legitimate all-day, everyday computer. Now, one thing I will mention is that this thing is a battery hog. All of that I/O needs to be powered, and it's going to be taking that from the iPad Pro. But the great thing is, via the USB-C connection, you can actively charge the iPad Pro and the keyboard and all the peripherals at the same time. And as I demonstrated for you all, it wasn't just plug in one thing at a time. It wasn't just do one thing at a time. I had all of these peripherals plugged in at the same time. If I were to recommend any changes, of course, thinner and lighter would always be great. Maybe a change in materials. You could use aluminum, but again, you deal with weight issues and things like that. So this is rare for this show, and this company's not even paying me outside of giving me this case, but I gotta give this case a 9 out of 10, with the only knock on it really being the size and weight due to how much the case can actually do. But would totally recommend this case for anybody looking to do serious work on their iPad Pro. Also, it offers a serious amount of protection with all that size and heft as well. But of course, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to get this case, of course, I've put a link to it down in the description below. It'll also help out the channel, so please go and check that out. Shout out to Chesona for sending this over. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep it locked here with a like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss as we cover all your favorite tech. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granite Geek Show.